Single mom exposed to rejection for her child, then an incredible millionaire CEO discovered the potential within. Emma stood at the edge of the school auditorium, heart pounding in her chest as parents clustered like vultures around the snack table. They whispered and pointed in her direction, their judgment palpable. A single mom working at the diner, she felt like an unwanted ghost in a place she once believed could help Tyler, her spirited 8-year-old. They saw her worn-out shoes, her tired smile, and made their assumptions. Just another struggling parent. Just another kid with dreams too big for his budget. Tyler, with his wild curls and bright blue eyes, didn't he care what they thought. He sang at the top of his lungs with a joy that filled the room, but every note he hit felt muffled by the stigma of their lives. Emma watched him shine, the sparkle in his eye dimming as the principal's bored expression reflected the school's indifference toward their circumstances. "He's not cut out for this," he said dismissively before shuffling off. As she stood there, a lump lodged itself in her throat. Then, something caught her eye, a flyer tacked crookedly on the bulletin board. Scholarship opportunity for citywide talent competition. A chance, a glimmer of hope, flickered in her chest. Could this be a way to show them all what Tyler was capable of? Emma could barely breathe as she clutched the flyer. This was it. If she could just help him prepare, maybe they could make something of this. Before she could get lost in her thoughts, she remembered the parent-teacher meeting looming ahead. Some parents had already made it clear they didn't think she was worthy. Why should they even support her? They'd mutter behind her back. It made her stomach twist, and that tiny flicker of hope dimmed ever so slightly. But the fire of a mother's love burned brightly within her. "Mom, can we practice the song again?" Tyler's voice broke through her thoughts. His excitement reignited her passion and determination. They spent hours in the cramped living room, the sound of his laughter replacing the voices of judgment outside. But tension found its way back when Emma faced the scowls and whispers from the other parents at the meeting that night. "Can you believe she thinks her kid's talent is worth anything?" The words cut deep, but she held her ground. She wanted more for Tyler than their little box of a life. Just when her world felt heavy with despair, a twist of fate arrived. A tall man walked into the auditorium, his presence commanding yet oddly familiar. James, a millionaire CEO who once called their neighborhood home, had returned to the community he had escaped. He volunteered at the talent event, but he had no idea how much he would impact Emma and Tyler. As Tyler's performance filled the room with raw emotion, James was captivated. Seeing the boy pour his heart out ignited something in him, a longing to connect, a realization of his own disconnected success. The energy shifted. Hope began to thread through the crowd as James leaned in closer, his eyes locked on the spirited boy on stage. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue with Tyler's soul-stirring performance. Hanging in the air, Emma couldn't help but wonder. Could this wealthy outsider understand her pain? As support from a community came together, Emma felt the tight grip of skepticism battling her maternal hope. But just then, another unexpected surprise loomed, one that could uncover hidden prejudices and challenge everything Emma believed. Would the compassion building around them be enough to break the barriers of judgment? Emma stood at a precipice, caught between hope and the shadows of doubt, asking herself whether she could truly let love lead the way. As the final notes of Tyler's performance faded, the auditorium erupted into applause. Emma felt a rush of warmth course through her. It was as if each clap was a gentle nudge, pushing away the weight of judgment she had carried. For the first time that day, pride bloomed within her. Tyler beamed on stage, his cheeks flushed with excitement, unaware of the impact he was making. "Did you see him?" Emma whispered to herself, her face lighting up with pure awe. Tears pricked her eyes as she took in the sight of her son, his small figure radiating confidence. It almost felt surreal, like the moment had been plucked straight from a fairy tale. But she couldn't help feeling a shadow hover at the edge of her happiness. What would happen next? James stepped forward, breaking through the thrumming energy in the room. His expression mirrored Emma's awe, yet there was something deeper. Something that spoke of recognition. As he approached the stage, Tyler stood, wide-eyed. The little boy, full of ambition and spirit, was receiving a notice from a man who had once lived this life but had escaped it fully. His presence felt like both a lifeline and a chasm that threatened to divide them. "Your talent is incredible," James began, his voice steady yet warm. Emma couldn't take her eyes off him. Here stood a man who had risen from similar roots, a voice that could transform lives simply by acknowledging their worth. She could see the audience shift, interested and engaged for the first time. "I'd love to talk to you after this about an opportunity that might help you shine even brighter." Hope burst within Emma, intertwining with anxiety. Could this man truly understand their world? Could he see beyond the sparkle of Tyler's talent and into the grueling work it took to keep the lights on at home? She fought to mute the skepticism that whispered in her ear, warning her of wealthy saviors with their own agendas. "Mom, he really liked me," Tyler squealed, eyes sparkling. Emma wrapped her arms around him, pulling him into a tight embrace. In that moment, every fear she had melted away. His excitement was infectious. Maybe there was a way forward. Maybe this was the start of something new, for both of them. As the applause eased into murmurs of excitement, the other parents began mingling. Emma noticed some glances shifted towards her, tinged with curiosity rather than disdain. The tide was slowly changing. Encouraged, she grabbed Tyler's hand tightly, leading him when James beckoned them closer. "Let's chat," he said, an inviting smile breaking across his face. To Emma, it felt like stepping onto a fragile bridge. But just as she opened her mouth to respond, a familiar voice called out from across the auditorium. It was a renowned talent agent, one who had scoffed at Emma just days before. "You, with the boy. This could be your shot, but make sure you don't get taken advantage of," he hollered, eyes narrowing knowingly. The tension returned to Emma's chest, squeezing tightly. Was this the moment of truth she had been waiting for, or would it give birth to betrayal? As James turned to her, his expression filled with encouragement, doubt sank its teeth back into her heart. Would she dare to trust again? Emma took a deep breath, ready to step forward into the unknown. But what awaited her and Tyler on this new path filled with potential and promise? Tyler tugged at Emma's hand, his excitement palpable, but she could feel her knees wobble slightly at the uncertainty swirling around them. James was standing there, a pillar of support, yet that other agent's words reverberated in her mind, echoing her fears. Was this opportunity a chance for freedom or just another entrapment? "Are you ready, Tyler?" James asked, his voice soft yet firm. Tyler nodded enthusiastically, and Emma couldn't help but smile at his unshakable spirit. It was a magical moment, she thought, hope mingling with apprehension. "Just a second," Emma said, her voice breaking the thawing silence. She wanted to gather her thoughts. There was so much at stake, and for once, she felt like she needed to stand firm for Tyler's future. She glanced back at the whispering parents nearby. They leaned in, exchanging looks, some filled with admiration, others with envy. It was clear her life was no longer a secret. "Mom, can we go talk?" Tyler's voice broke through her thoughts, filled with innocent eagerness. The sparkle in his eyes urged her to take that leap of faith, but doubt twisted the knot in her stomach even tighter. "Yeah, let us go," she finally replied. Emma took a breath, trying to bury the anxiety that crawled up her spine. She followed Tyler and James, stepping toward the stage, the spotlight finally shifting toward them. As they reached a quieter corner backstage, James leaned closer. "Tyler," he said, addressing her son directly, "you were phenomenal out there. Have you ever considered taking your talent further? Tyler beamed, still riding high on adrenaline. I want to be on Broadway one day, he declared, his face practically glowing. Emma's heart swelled with pride. That's a perfect dream, James replied, eyes sparkling with encouragement. I believe you can do it. I'd like to mentor you, help you with lessons and opportunities. Emma's got twisted again. Mentorship? It sounded amazing, but what would that really entail? And how could she be sure this was genuine? What exactly are we talking about? She interjected, the caution in her voice woven through her curiosity. James's smile softened. I have connections, resources. I want to help you navigate this world, so you don't feel lost, he explained. I see so much potential in Tyler. It's not about exploitation, it's about guidance. The flicker of hope ignited inside Emma. This was the support they needed. But the shadows of doubt loomed on the edges of her thoughts. She glanced from James to Tyler, torn between trust and fear, wanting to protect her son but also yearning for his dreams. Can I think about it? Emma heard herself say, feeling like she had a weight to lift and a decision that could change everything. Of course, James replied, his tone understanding. But remember, this connection could open doors you never knew existed. Tyler shook his head, looking at Emma with wide eyes. Mom, please. I want to go for it. The passion in his voice hit Emma like a wave. The little boy who had performed was powerful, filled with dreams just waiting to be unwrapped. Suddenly, she felt the pull of possibility stronger than the chains of fear. Just as she began to nod, the moment was split by another voice, this time an excited whisper from the other talent agent who had earlier challenged her. You really don't want to skip out on this chance. Keep your eye on this kid. Emma's heart raced, and she looked down at Tyler, who was still bubbling with enthusiasm. Trusting her instincts felt like a gamble, but facing that gamble seemed to beckon to the core of her being. Could this be their moment? But as she searched James's eyes for reassurance, she couldn't shake the sense that the real journey was just about to begin. What awaited them on this path filled with potential? Emma knew one thing: whatever lay ahead would demand more than they had ever given before. Tyler tugged on Emma's hand again, his impatience growing. Mom, did you hear what they said? This could change everything. Emma glanced at Tyler, his youthful excitement forming a bright star that lit the dark corners of her doubt. But fear was still a stubborn shadow, creeping around her heart. I know, sweetheart. I need to think, she replied, glancing over at James, who stood waiting with those deeply reassuring eyes. Thinking is good, Tyler insisted, trying to sound mature, though the sparkle in his eyes betrayed his urgency. But don't take too long. Okay. Let us just breathe for a second, Emma said, closing her eyes for a moment to steady herself. She felt the heat of the stage lights on her skin, their brightness both intimidating and exhilarating. Did she dare to take this step? Would it draw them into the light, or would it cast them into shadows? Suddenly, James's phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. He looked at it and then back at her and Tyler. Sorry, I need to take this. With that, he stepped aside, but not before giving Tyler a reassuring nod, a promise of support. Now alone with her son in the backstage chaos, Emma knelt down to his level. Tyler, I believe in you so much. But this world, it can be very complicated. Do you really think you're ready for all of it? I have to try, Mom, he replied, passion fueling every word. What if I'm a star? What if I inspire other kids to chase their dreams too? There was something about the way he said dreams that resonated deep within Emma's heart. She could feel the weight of his ambition. But what if things didn't go as planned? What if he faced rejection? She wanted him to have every chance, but it broke her heart to think of the struggles they might endure. Before she could respond, James returned, cutting her internal battle short. Everything okay? He asked, sensing the heavy air between them. Yeah, Emma lied, convincing herself that sometimes, pretending is easier. Tyler stood between them, a small beacon of hope. Great. So, did you give it any thought? James leaned in slightly, his voice kind but probing. I'm still deciding, she said, hesitating, feeling the draw of decision pressing against her chest like a weight. Can I talk to him? You can even join in if you want, James suggested, his smile gentle. Tyler was nodding eagerly, practically vibrating with anticipation. Just remember, it's not just about being famous, Emma reminded him. It's about hard work too. Tyler rolled his eyes as if he already understood that. I will work hard, Mom. You'll see. With a deep breath, Emma finally nodded, okay. Let us see where this goes. James beamed, and at that moment, the weight began to lift, but Emma couldn't shake the feeling of imminent change. As they moved back toward the main area where many aspiring performers and parents were gathered, Emma's heart quickened. People buzzed with excitement, but her focus was on Tyler, who approached James with confidence. Do we start right now? Tyler asked, eyes wide with hope and determination. James chuckled softly, absolutely. Let us get you started on the right path. Emma watched as her son engaged effortlessly, each exchanged word taking her breath away. This was at the beginning of something terrifying and beautiful. But amid the thrill, Emma felt a pinprick of fear. What if this right path turned out to be a winding road filled with obstacles too difficult to navigate? As if reading her mind, James turned briefly toward her, his expression assured. Just remember, Emma. Trust in him, and trust in yourself. Those words hung in the air. They were more than just reassurance, they were a mirror reflecting her own doubts and strengths. Yet, right then, amidst the thrill and uncertainty, she couldn't escape the sense that this journey wouldn't just transform Tyler's life. It would change hers too in ways she couldn't even fathom. As the excitement bubbled around them, Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. Could she really allow Tyler to venture into a world full of disappointment and delight? But then, in the midst of the whirlpool of emotions, they found themselves confronting a new participant in their lives, one who seemed to loom with the promise of both opportunity and danger. Were they ready for the consequences of this leap? Emma was uncertain, but one thing felt clear, the real test was just about to begin. The room was alive with chatter and laughter, each sound a vibrant thread weaving through the tapestry of eager ambition. Emma felt a mix of anxiety and exhilaration rise within her. Watching Tyler, clad in his favorite t-shirt, animatedly speaking with James, she couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. He was ready to spread his wings, even if she was struggling to let go. Mom! Tyler called out, waving her over. James wants me to show him my ideas for the audition. Can you come? She approached, and he stood before her, beaming. This was his moment. What do you think? He asked, startling Emma from her spiraling thoughts. It's brilliant, honey. You've thought this through? She replied, trying to sound more confident than she felt. James nodded, his presence solid and reassuring as they discussed everything from stage presence to the kinds of roles we could pursue. Emma, I've seen a lot of kids with talent, but Tyler's got something special, James said, his tone promising. What he needs now is support. You can't hold back on that. Emma felt a shiver of doubt. What if her support wasn't enough to shield him from disappointment? What if he faced rejection head-on? She glanced at Tyler, whose eyes sparkled with promise, and her heart twisted at the thought of him hurting. Can I tell you something, Mom? Tyler's voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her back to the present. I want to be a role model. If I can do it, maybe I can help other kids too. Those words, laden with innocence, struck an emotional chord. She smiled, feeling a rush of warmth. You already are, sweetheart, she said, knelling to look into his eyes. You just need to promise me you'll hold on to that heart of yours, no matter what. I will, he assured her, determination lacing his tone. James caught Emma's gaze. You know, it takes more than talent. It's about passion and resilience. That's something he's got. She nodded, feeling both admiration and concern fizz within her. She wanted to protect him, yet she also wanted him to chase this wild dream. But, as they began to strategize, a tantalizing spark started to flicker within her. What if this could indeed change everything? The clock ticked away, its rhythmic sound blending into the background hum of hopeful artists. Tyler launched into his pitch for the dance sequence. He envisioned his confidence unfurling like a flag. Emma couldn't help but imagine all the possibilities shimmering just out of reach. Then, behind her, she heard a voice that made the air around them thrum with electricity. "Am I interrupting?" It was a woman, well-dressed, with an aura of command that shifted the atmosphere. Emma's heart raced. Who was she? "I'm Diane," the woman introduced herself, her eyes quickly scanning the scene. "I'm an agent. And that," she pointed to Tyler, "is something special." "Mom." Tyler turned, excitement lighting up his face as he referenced the stranger. "Do you know who she is?" Emma took a steadying breath. "No, not yet." Diane stepped closer, her gaze fixated on Tyler. "I'm here looking for fresh talent. I can already see you have what it takes. Let's discuss what I could do for you." Emma felt a whirlpool of emotions, hope flooding her veins, but uncertainty gnawing at her. "Wait," she interjected. "This is all so sudden. We need time to think it through." James put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Emma, listen. Opportunities like this don't knock often. This may be Tyler's chance." Tyler looked up at her, eyes pleading. It was the moment of truth. "Mom, please." He needed her belief now more than ever. Emma's heart pounded as she weighed the risks of this new connection. Could she allow someone into this crucial part of their lives? What if this was the stepping stone, or the trap? The room filled with heavy anticipation, and Emma's eyes darted between Diane's confident smile and Tyler's hopeful expression. Everything hinged on her next words. Was she ready to plunge into the unknown for her son's star to shine? Could she embrace uncertainty for the chance of a dream realized? The question hung thick in the air. Emma felt as if destiny was waiting just beyond a door, but did she have the courage to open it? Emma's heart raced as she looked into Tyler's eager eyes. She sensed the gravity of the moment, the rightness of stepping forward colliding with the fear of what lay ahead. Diane was still watching her, her expression a blend of patience and ambition. "Okay," Emma finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let us talk." Tyler's face exploded into a grin. James clapped him on the shoulder, while Diane maintained her calm, authoritative demeanor, a slight smirk on her lips. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to plunge into uncharted waters. Diane wasted no time. "I want to set up a meeting where we can really dive into what Tyler's aspirations are. Let us see how we can brand and market his talents." Emma nodded, trying to piece it all together. Branding? Marketing? It sounded so formal. Tyler was just a kid with dreams and a passion for performing. Did he even want any of this? Yet, here he was, practically glowing with excitement. "Mom, can we do it?" Tyler's voice cut through her thoughts, filled with the kind of zeal that was both infectious and alarming. At that moment, she realized she wasn't just deciding for herself, she was deciding for him, too. "Of course," Emma managed to say, her heart clenching at the weight of her promise. As Diane explained the process, headshots, workshops, connections, Emma tried to absorb everything. The pace was dizzying. She glanced at Tyler, and the sparkle in his eyes pushed her to chase her own worries away. This could be his path. It needed to be, but was she ready for the fallout? She thought about the late-night conversations they had shared, the moments where they dreamed together, sitting on their living room floor surrounded by old toy boxes and stacks of paper. Would this whirlwind adventure reshape everything? Diane wrapped up her pitch. "We'll start with a talent showcase. You'll have an opportunity to connect with observers, industry insiders. It'll be a game changer. A game changer, Emma repeated, testing the sound, but it felt like a double-edged sword. With every step Tyler took forward, she felt herself fraying at the edges. Mom, please, I want this. Tyler was practically bouncing in place. She smiled, but inside her doubts roared louder. It's not just about what you want, Tyler. This is huge. Everyone has to start somewhere, right? James interjected, a knowing look crossing his face. This could be the start of something amazing. Emma watched as Tyler nodded eagerly at James' encouragement. She had to remind herself that this wasn't just about fear, it was also about faith in her son, faith in their journey. Okay, let us do this, she decided with a rush of determination. But Tyler, remember, it's about enjoying the process as much as the goal. In that moment, as Tyler cheered and Diane took out her phone to schedule the meeting, Emma felt a wave of warmth wash over her. She could protect Tyler, yes, but she also needed to let him make his own mistakes, learn, and grow. The sense of excitement mixed with uncertainty wrapped around her like a cocoon. Could she really help him navigate this wonderful yet unpredictable world? But before she could contemplate further, Diane turned to her. One last thing, Emma. There's one person who you need to meet as we move forward, someone who holds a lot of influence in the industry. I think you'll want to hear what they have to say. Emma's heart sank. Who could this person be? What if meeting them turned out to be another hurdle, a complicating factor in this whirlwind odyssey? Or worse, what if they turned out to be the exact kind of person Tyler needed to steer clear of? The air felt charged again, filled with the potential for both dreams and moments of heartbreak. Wait, Emma said, feeling the urgency and tension pulse through the room, what kind of influence? Diane smiled, her eyes glinting like she held secrets. Let us just say it's someone who can open doors, or close them forever. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she prepared to venture deeper into this new, thrilling, and terrifying reality. What if the next chapter held not only opportunity but also trials she hadn't seen coming? Emma's mind buzzed as she tried to process Diane's cryptic words. The weight of the unknown pressed heavily on her shoulders. Tyler bounced back and forth, his excitement a stark contrast to Emma's swirling fears. Who is it, Diane? She asked, her voice a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She was desperate to know, to prepare herself for what might come next. But Diane simply shrugged and said, "You'll meet them soon enough." The meeting wrapped up quickly, the trio disbanding with a flurry of plans and promises. As Emma and Tyler stepped out into the brisk evening air, the reality of their situation hit her like a cold wave. The sun started to dip behind the horizon, leaving a cascade of orange and pink in its wake. Beautiful, yet it felt like a warning sign, reminding her that change was on the horizon. Mom! Did you see how fired up I was? Tyler said, his voice barely able to contain his energy. I can't wait for the showcase. This is going to be epic. Emma forced a smile, trying to mirror his enthusiasm, but inside, she was still grappling with the thought of the industry and all its unpredictability. It was uncharted territory for both of them. I know it feels like an adventure, she said slowly, but we need to be cautious. Tyler's expression shifted slightly. Cautious? But what if this is my big break? His passion ignited something in her, a flame of hope battling against her reservations. You're right, sweetie. It could be amazing, Emma replied, her heart torn between wanting to protect him and wanting to let him shine. That night, as they settled down, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were beginning to spiral into something far beyond their control. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her thoughts racing. What if this person Diane had in mind was too overwhelming? What if they didn't see Tyler's talent? What if they were just a big fish in a small pond that would swallow him whole? Days passed like a blur, consumed by preparations and sleepless nights filled with hopeful dreams and anxious thoughts. When the day of the meeting finally arrived, Emma felt like she was at the edge of a cliff. Walking into the sleek, glass-walled office tower, a chill ran down her spine. Tyler was a bundle of nerves beside her, his face a mixture of excitement and fear. As they stepped into the elevator, Tyler turned to her and said, "No matter what happens, Mom, I'll be okay, right?" She nodded, but inside she felt anything but okay. "Of course, I'll be right here with you." Arriving at the office, the air was thick with ambition. The walls were adorned with accolades and framed photographs of prominent figures in the industry. Emma's stomach flipped as they were led to a stylish meeting room, where the influential person awaited them with an inviting smile. "Welcome, you two. I've heard so much about you, Tyler," the person said, extending a hand. Their confidence filled the room, and Emma sensed something pivotal was about to unfold. "Hi!" Tyler exclaimed, shaking their hand with a bright smile, eyes sparkling with admiration. Emma stood back, her heart pounding, unable to look away. Who was this person? What influence did they truly wield? As the conversation began, Emma watched Tyler soak up every word, but uncertainty gnawed at her. The moment felt monumental, a threshold to something beautiful or catastrophic. Just as she felt an inkling of trust forming, they pivoted to discuss plans that sent chills racing through Emma's mind. "We can elevate his image and really market his talents. But first, we need to discuss the boundaries." Emma's protective instincts flared up again. "Boundaries?" she echoed, her heart racing. "Yes," the person said, a faint smile playing on their lips, "to ensure Tyler's vision stays pure and true." Emma glanced at Tyler, who looked bewildered, caught between his dreams and the potential for unwanted compromises. What had they actually signed up for? Could she truly trust this person to have Tyler's best interests at heart? The atmosphere shifted, the stakes suddenly feeling much higher than she had anticipated. Emma opened her mouth to question everything, but before she could find the words, the door swung open and a whirlwind entered the room. Diane, with a triumphant grin, followed by someone Emma had never expected to see, a renowned director. "Guess who is interested in the showcase as an observer?" Diane announced, eyes glinting with excitement. Emma's breath caught again. This was at the moment of truth. The pressure mounted, uncertainty looming large. Would this meeting lead to promises fulfilled or broken dreams? As Emma locked eyes with the director, a sense of foreboding crept in. She had promised Tyler she would be there for him, but could she protect him from what lay ahead? Moment that would change everything. The atmosphere in the room crackled with anticipation. Tyler's eyes widened at the sight of the director, his starry dreams floating a little higher. Emma felt the weight of her worries pressing down like a thick fog around them. "Wow, is that really them?" Tyler whispered, unable to contain his excitement. "Just stay focused," Emma managed to say, though her heart drummed anxiously. "Remember why we're here." Diane and the director shared a knowing look, something that made Emma's stomach twist even further. Tyler was the shining star, but was he ready for the heat? "Tyler, let us talk about your showcase," the director said, their voice smooth as silk but with an authority that demanded attention. "We want to make sure it's every bit as spectacular as you are." Emma watched as Tyler nodded eagerly, his little fists clenched. The director painted a picture of glamorous events, shining lights, and red carpets, but beneath it all, Emma sensed the shadows lurking. Each word, every promise, felt like a sweet poison, laced with the potential for disappointment. Can we trust them?" she thought, her eyes flicking to Diane, who smiled back as if nothing could go wrong. The discussion turned technical as they delved deep into strategies. Emma had hoped to hear about the heart of the performance, the art. Instead, it focused on marketability, image, and sponsors. Each jargon-filled phrase was like a stab in her gut. They were building a brand around her son, but at what cost? Tyler, oblivious to the tightening coil of anxiety in her chest, was swimming in the excitement, feeding off their praise. "This is all part of the process, Mom. It's going to be amazing." But Emma's heart was heavy. "It's not just about amazing," she murmured, barely audible. "What if this isn't the right path?" The director's confident words drew Tyler further into a dream world. But we'll need you to change how you present yourself. It's about building a persona. Are you willing to explore that? Inside, Emma screamed at the thought. They wanted to mold Tyler, to box him in like some sort of product. She felt panic welling in her chest. Is that really what he wants? Isn't it his passion that matters? Suddenly, she stood up, feeling shakier than she had in ages. Wait, she interrupted gently but firmly. Can we just take a moment? I need to understand this direction. I want to make sure this is what's best for Tyler and not just what looks good on paper. All eyes turned to her, surprise mixed with a slight amusement. Of course, Emma, the director said, their expression unreadable. But the opportunity here is immense. Emma could feel every heartbeat echoing in the silence that followed. Tyler looked from her to the director, confusion pooling in his eyes. Mom, I want this. I really do. I know, sweetheart, Emma said, her voice soothing, but there was fire behind her words. But sometimes wanting something doesn't mean it's the right choice. This industry. She took a breath, willing herself to push forward. What about your vision, your art? They want to frame you into something, and I just need to be sure it won't silence who you are. In the charged atmosphere, the director's smirk faltered for a moment. Emma could see something shift, the fine line between ambition and authenticity, the tightrope they had to walk. Trust me, the director finally replied, this kind of transformation can lead to something spectacular. Emma's heart raced. She could feel the struggle within her as a mother, wanting her child to succeed, and as a protector, fearing what that success could cost Tyler. A moment of clarity washed over her. You don't have to change who you are to succeed, she said, her voice steadier. The words felt liberating, the truth resonating in the room. The silence that lingered was heavy, filled with the weight of choices still to be made. As tensions began to unfurl, Diane's gaze shifted nervously between the director and Emma. Every second ticked by slower than before. And just when Emma thought she had regained control, Diane leaned in. Her voice low and urgent. What if there's more at stake here than you realize, Emma? You and Tyler may not be ready for what truly lies ahead. The implications of Diane's words wrapped around her like a vice. What did she know? What did she see that they didn't? Emma felt a shiver dance down her spine. Was the showcase more than just a turning point? Was there danger lurking in the shadows she hadn't anticipated? She looked at Tyler, who was still hopeful, still ready to chase those lights and dreams. But behind his excitement, there was an inkling of fear, the same fear she felt. Mom, he said softly, pulling her back to the moment. Is everything okay? Emma's heart broke at the trust in his eyes. Determined, she would navigate through this whatever it was. The journey was far from over, and she would do everything in her power to protect him. Let's just take it one step at a time, she replied, though uncertainty hung thick in the air. Would they be able to bridge the gap between dreams and reality? Would the choices ahead threaten everything they held dear? With each heartbeat echoing in her ears, Emma realized they were standing on the brink of something monumental. And she had to figure out whether that leap was worth taking or if they were diving into a net of lies. Room was charged with a storm of thoughts and unspoken fears. Emma could feel the reality of the situation settling deep in her gut. The bright lights and promise of fame felt like a distant shimmer, one that could very well blind them both. Mom. Tyler's voice broke through her thoughts again. I really want to do this. I think I can be great. His hopeful gaze was a mixture of innocence and determination that tugged at her heart. He was so young, yet his dreams were so big, and here she was, a gatekeeper unsure if they were headed towards a castle or a minefield. Do you really know what that means, Tyler? The pressure? She asked gently, needing him to look deeper than just the surface of stardom. It's not only about the applause. It's about who you become in the process. The director shifted, a glint of impatience in their eyes. The industry is tough, Emma. If Tyler wants to stand out, he has to embrace the persona we're discussing. If we can harness the energy, the talent, will have a winner on our hands, they said, trying to pull Tyler back into the grand dream. Emma's heart thudded in her chest. But at what point does that make him lose himself? She felt her voice fighting to remain calm, but the swell of frustration broke through. I don't want Tyler to change. I want him to shine for who he is. Mom, I can do both. Tyler chimed in, his enthusiasm flickering with passion. I can be me and still be great. Just like my idols. They created their brands and stayed true to themselves. A smile tugged at Emma's lips at his courage, but the director interjected with calculated precision. Tyler, let us focus on angles and lighting. We can create magic here, but you need to let us guide you, allow us to shape you. Emma felt as if her heart was breaking all over again. Tyler was caught in the swirling vortex of aspirations, and this was the moment to decide would she let him go further into this world, or pull him back into the safety of authenticity. Can you promise me this won't change you? She asked him, searching his eyes for reassurance. Promise me you will remain true to who you are, regardless of the image you choose to project. Tyler hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. I'll try, Mom. I really will. His voice trailed off, the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air. Just then, Diane cleared her throat, her voice firm. Emma, this could be a unique opportunity for both of you. But I think we need to consider the long game here. She leaned in, her expression serious. If you deny this chance, Emma, there might not be another. Think of the doors this could open. Emma looked at Diane, remembering their past conversations about ambition and dreams. But it felt like a ticking clock was overrunning her thoughts, the urgency there but the clarity lagging behind. There's a fine line between opportunity and exploitation, she finally replied. What's at stake is more than just fame for Tyler. It's about his happiness, his art. I fear losing sight of that. Sometimes you have to risk it all for the chance of greatness, the director countered, frustration evident. This is business, and emotions can't dictate strategy. Tyler looked torn. The shadows of doubt loomed larger, and Emma sensed him teetering on the edge of a major life decision. Would he choose the glitzy path ahead or one grounded in authenticity? The atmosphere thickened, every person in the room felt the gravity of the moment. Through her son's eyes, Emma could see a flicker of hope mixed with trepidation. They were at a crossroads. Mom, Tyler stated boldly, summoning courage she didn't know he had, I want to do this. I don't want to let fear hold me back. Emma took his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. Then let us make sure we do it together. We'll keep checking in with each other, she promised, looking deep into his eyes. Just then, Diane's phone buzzed on the table, shattering the tension. She glanced at the screen and froze, her face draining of color. Emma, she said, voice shaky. You might want to see this. Emma felt as though the air had been sucked out of the room. What could it be that changed everything? Was it heartbreak, or something truly twisted? Diane, what's wrong? She asked, mind racing. Without answering, Diane turned the screen toward her, and Emma's hand fell away from Tyler's as she stared at the message. The uncertainty felt ominous, but there was only one thing Emma knew for sure. Whatever came next would propel them all into uncharted territory, and she had to brace for it. What would they uncover and how would it define their futures? The buzz of anticipation in the air shifted to an unbearable tension. Emma's heart raced as she gazed at Diane's phone, the screen illuminating a notification that felt like a bombshell. What is this? Emma whispered, dread pooling in her stomach while Tyler shifted anxiously beside her. Diane hesitated, biting her lip. It's a tweet about your son. The words hung in the air, seemingly echoing around them, a haunting reminder of how easily dreams could turn to nightmares. Emma's breath quickened, and Tyler's eyes darted between the two women, confusion turning into concern. Mom, what's happening? Tyler pleaded, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and fear. Emma blinked, focusing her attention back on the screen. The tweet was a summary of their meeting, stating that Tyler was on the verge of being molded into a commercial venture, an exploitative portrayal of his pure talent. This could ruin everything, she whispered as her mind raced. Emma, we need to come up with a plan, Diane said, urgency spilling from her words. If the narrative spins out of control, it could impact his reputation before he's even had a chance to start. It's not about a plan, Emma responded, her voice cracking with emotion. It's about Tyler's heart, what he wants to be. She turned to him, her hand gripping his. Tyler, we need to talk. What do you want? Is this really your dream? Tyler's gaze shifted back and forth between the adults, the weight of the moment pushing his small frame into uncertainty. I want to perform, Mom. I want to share my talent. The urgency in his voice made Emma's heart swell. And I want you to, but on your own terms. I'd rather see you shine authentically than become a product, she insisted, speaking directly to the director and Diane. The silence that followed was heavy, pregnant with unspoken words. Emma's mind churned, the fear of losing a precious part of Tyler throbbed like an open wound. I can't let them define who you are. Emma. Diane interrupted, shaking her head. The world is tough. You have to understand the nature of this business. If we don't play their game, we lose. But what if I don't want to play? Tyler dared to say, his small voice steady despite the storm of emotions. I want to be me without change. In that moment, a clarity washed over Emma. She had been so worried about external pressures that she nearly overlooked the most crucial voice of all, Tyler's. Right, she said softly, turning her gaze fully to him. It's your life. Your dreams. We're in this together. The tension in the air broke like a wave crashing against a shore, hope shining through. The director's expression softened, matter shifting into something genuine. If you're willing to be authentic, you could set your own precedent. It might even inspire others. Then I will be me. Tyler exclaimed, the fire of determination blazing in his eyes. Emma smiled through her tears, filled with overwhelming pride as she realized their next steps were clear. Then we will do this on our own terms. We'll find a way to showcase your talent without compromising who you are. Let us put together a showcase that focuses on Tyler's true art. We can invite those who really value passion, not just profit, Diane suggested, her tone shifting. We could offer an alternative, one that speaks louder than a tweet ever could. A new sense of empowerment filled the room. Emma felt renewed, and Tyler's excitement mirrored the love and support that had always driven them forward. This is the moment we take control, Emma declared. No more playing small. We'll own our story. With this new resolve, the three of them began hashing out their ideas, charting a path that did not twist Tyler into something he wasn't but rather brought out the best in him. Plans formed, creativity sparked, and for the first time, Emma felt a weight lifting. The fear that once held her in place transformed into motivation and clarity. In the days that followed, they pushed through rehearsals, attended meetings, and set up connections, all while building an environment where Tyler's true self could shine. Emma watched as he transformed, not through drastic changes, but rather by growing in authenticity, flourishing under the support of those who genuinely believed in him. When the day of the showcase arrived, Emma felt nervous yet filled with unbreakable hope. Standing backstage, she peered out at the audience, full of familiar faces, friends, families, and those who had joined their journey. The spotlight bounced off Tyler's bright smile, illuminating every detail of the moment they had fought for. Are you ready? Emma asked, searching his eyes for assurance. I've never been more ready, Mom. He beamed back, his confidence radiating. As he stepped onto the stage, the applause shook the very foundation of the auditorium, a powerful affirmation of every ounce of hard work and raw talent he possessed. In that moment, watching him perform from the shadows, Emma felt her heart swell with joy and relief. Tyler sang beautifully, pouring every little moment he had lived into the song, captivating the audience in a magical fusion of talent and authenticity. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about everyone who had ever faced doubt and insecurity, transformed into triumph through love and belief. As the last note echoed through the auditorium, the crowd erupted into applause, real, heartfelt acknowledgement of Tyler's genuine spirit. Emma's heart soared, tears of joy streaming down her face. He had done it, and in doing so, they had all reclaimed their narratives. "Mom, look at them!" Tyler exclaimed, excitement spilling over as he turned to see everyone cheering for him. Emma knelt beside him, cupping his face in her hands. "You were incredible. You showed them who you are, and that's a win." "Yes. We did it together." He cheered, and she could see the future shimmer like a beacon ahead. As the applause continued, Emma felt immense gratitude wash over her. They had faced challenges, fought against skepticism, and embraced the unknown, yet they emerged stronger, united as a family ready to chase their dreams on their own terms. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace settle within her. This moment was just the beginning. They would continue to navigate the landscape ahead, hand in hand, always keeping their hearts open and true. And as she waved to the crowd, she felt the power of dreams fulfilled shining bright, like the brightest stars in the sky. Now, more than ever, Emma realized that authenticity had the power not only to change their lives but also inspire countless others. This was their story, and she was proud to share it with the world and with all of you reading this. Don't wait. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and transform. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the momentum going. Let us know how you felt about this journey in the comments. Your reactions matter. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.